everyone! Can you believe that dog coming in and chasing Twitch all over our classrooms? That dog must not be too smart. Anyway, are you ready to hear what happens next from the smartest animal in our story? This chapter is called Miss Lucy Cottontail, the second grade rabbit. It's not everybody that starts school in second grade. The children in Miss Walters' class went to first grade last year. They were in a different building in kindergarten the year before that, and most of them spent a year or two in nursery school. Not me. I came to second grade straight from the pet shop, so that shows that I'm the smartest one here. Well, maybe, except for Mrs. Walters, but I'm not sure. Mrs. Walters never talks about being in first grade, so I think she may have skipped first grade too, but she does talk about last year's second grade class. I'm smart enough to know that means Miss Walters was kept back, but I am polite enough not to mention it. I plan to finish second grade in 1 year. In fact, I think I may well skip third grade and go directly to fourth. Another way I know I'm the smartest one here is that Miss Walters tells the children that it is their job to learn, but she says that my job is to be cute and cuddly and not bite. Obviously, I have already learned everything there is to learn. Sometimes the children forget to latch my cage. I help them learn by running around the classroom and hiding under things. I leave a trail of little poops to help them find me. Once, I made it all the way across the hall to Mr. Daly's third grade room. Mr. Daly has fish. The fish are in a tank, and the tank is on a cart with wheels. I don't think the fish are very smart at all. They never escape and hide under things. They just swim back and forth, back and forth. I held my long, good at hearing everything ears up against the glass to listen, but all they'd say was, "We are in a school, we are in a school." I know, I said, we all are. There's a squirrel who lives outside. Sometimes he comes to visit after Miss Walters and all the children have gone home. The squirrel sits on the windowsill and makes faces and says rude things like, "If you were really smart, the humans couldn't catch you. I don't let them catch me." I point out to him that I don't have to stay outside when it's cold or rainy and that I don't have to find my own food. The squirrel says squirrels are smarter than rabbits. He says the kids in the playground sometimes call one another dumb bunny. Nobody, he says, ever calls another person dumb squirrel. I think the squirrel is making this up. I've never heard anybody say dumb bunny. One time, though, I heard one of the third graders call me Mr. Fuzzbutt instead of Miss Lucy Cottontail. This is one of the reasons I'd like to skip third grade, but I don't tell the squirrel that. Besides, this just shows how dumb that third grader was. He couldn't even read the sign over my cage. I'm surprised Miss Walters ever let him out of second grade. One day, after the children had spent most of the afternoon learning something that had to do with crayons and glitter sticks, I was taking an afternoon nap when I heard a dog barking. He sounded so close, it was as if he was in the building. But that couldn't be. Dogs don't go to regular school. They have their own school to go to because they aren't smart like rabbits and children. But the next thing I knew, in ran that squirrel. If dogs aren't smart enough to go to school with the rest of us, squirrels definitely aren't smart enough. They'd have to be kept back for 3 years in a row, and they'd have to sit in the corner the whole time. "Help," the squirrel said. "Go away," I said. "There's a dog chasing me," the squirrel said. I told him, "Then you shouldn't have done whatever it was to make him chase you." "I didn't do it on purpose," the squirrel said. I chewed at an itchy spot on my foot. "If you were as smart as you think, these things wouldn't happen," the squirrel said. "I told Green Eggs and Hamster you were too stuck up to help me." I may be smart, but I am not stuck up. While I was still busy chewing, the dog ran by my room, never even looking into the doorway. The end of the long rope that was attached to his collar bumped and went thwap against the walls. Across the hall, I could hear the dog barking at the hamster. There was no squirrel there with a snake. "You're hiding him." The squirrel was still standing there in front of my cage, shaking, too dumb to move. Apparently, I had to tell him everything. "Run now," I said. "Well, the dog is in the first grade. Go back out the way you came." "The door is closed now." The squirrel's teeth were chattering from fright. Please hide me." I felt sorry for him. "Go to the room next to where the hamster is. There's a rat there." The rat has sometimes come to visit my second grade classroom. He's very good with his little hands, and he can open his own cage and doesn't need to wait for a child to forget to latch it. This doesn't make him smarter than me. He's just clever with his hands. "Sweetie," the squirrel said. Cheeky thing. "I beg your pardon," I snapped frostily. "The rat's name is Sweetie." "I knew that," I said. "Ask Sweetie to let you in." The dog won't be able to get at you if you're in a cage, I couldn't resist adding, because inside a cage is safer than outside. Yeah, yeah, the squirrel said, waving his tail at me as he turned and ran. Did you guess who I am? I'm Mrs. Champagne. I'm one of your school board members, and I have 3 kids who all went to Columbia schools. I hope you enjoyed this chapter of the 2nd grade Rabbit. Thank you for listening and reading along.